Alright, hello everyone. This is now take two because apparently OBS just glitched out on this computer. So, uh, I figured we're gonna do an episode of AAA because it's been a while and I wanted to do it on my exact birthday and talk to you all about stuff in general, but this cannot wait. There's just a lot going on around the world lately. Um, we're gonna cover it all in this video because there's a lot going on that just cannot wait until after my birthday. So um, I'll talk about myself in this video too. But if this is a live stream, then people are gonna ask me this or that. So I rather would just have a fair discussion in the comments what y'all are feeling too. So uh yeah, I guess we should start with what's going on with the world. I'm sure you are aware of what happened this morning and this afternoon in Israel. Uh, it's been something that I have been fearing since I was a teenager. Being honest, I've been fearing it as somebody who's Jewish and who's been worried that Iran was capable of getting a nuclear weapon. It was bound to happen at some point. I thought that when Obama was president, it was going to escalate, but somehow it didn't with the nuclear program that they had in Iran. Then with Donald Trump, he kept it under control because, our defense system in this country got a lot stronger when he was the president, and I will say that. But now, with a very hostile foreign policy that we've had, it's, unfortunate that it's become this way. And sorry about the music blasting outside. Uh, it's just been really unfortunate that it's had to come to this. And I had a feeling it would happen, given that Joe Biden has been asleep leading the free world. It's been that way for a while. It's so unfortunate that we've had to become this close, literally this close, right? This close now to World War III. We're on the brink of it now. We are on the brink of it. I don't want to scare anybody, but uh, Netanyahu just spoke a little while ago. I was just watching him, and he said that Israel is going to retaliate. And I certainly hope that Benjamin Netanyahu does retaliate. Because Hezbollah has been around now for 30, 40 plus years. It had to be done. You knew Iran was going to do it. You knew it. We've known it now for almost 15 years. We've known that for that a long amount of time it was going to happen. But, that's again the world we live in today. And we're approaching October 7th on Monday. We are approaching the awful anniversary of what happened last year. And what's going on is tomorrow is Rosh Hashanah. Tomorrow is the Jewish New Year. And it's a scary time to think that sirens are going off in Israel. People have to go into the bunkers before the most important Jewish holiday of the whole year. Everybody talks about Hanukkah. No. The Jewish calendar going into a new year is the most important. And today when I went over to Glen Oaks, my normal walk, I saw that 105th precinct of the NYPD outside of Belrose Jewish Center. So if that doesn't tell you that NYPD is taking this seriously, they are. They know that this is a serious threat. What's going on here? Don't be surprised that they'll be all over Jewish places tomorrow. Let's just say it for what it is. They'll be outside of temples and synagogues. My vocabulary is off there because we're going to talk about the airplane noise later on. I'm just getting distracted. My typical ADD and ADHD. Yeah, typical life of the table person, right? But anyhow, let's get back to the topic at hand. So yeah, the police are going to be outside of temples and synagogues, and you're going to see it tomorrow and probably the next couple days, probably going into the 7th on Monday. And yeah, it's not looking good right now for Israel. And it's just intimidating to think that, possible on Monday we're going to have a gridlock alert day in Manhattan. The city's not telling you this, but I'm going to tell you this because, all the protests expected on Monday. You don't think there's going to be protest on Monday? You really don't think there's going to be protest on Monday in Manhattan? I'm calling it. I know it's going to happen. And I urge any of my followers right now, if you do not have to be in Manhattan on Monday, if you have work in the city, just try to do virtual if you can, or use one of your sick days. Don't even bother going into Manhattan on Monday, because the pro-Palestinian protesters are going to block traffic. So I don't know why the city didn't issue the 7th as a gridlock alert day. They should have. Because there's going to be demonstrations. They're going to go into Penn Station. They're going to go into Grand Central Madison. And they're going to snarl up Metro North of the Long Island Railroad and New Jersey Transit on Monday. You don't think they will? So, bottom line is, it's a very scary situation being a Jewish person in this country. It really, really is. You get persecuted. You get intimidated online. I'm not going to name people who've come after me in the past year, but, it's just shameful that, we are allowing this to happen. And if you really want to quote, free Palestine, again, get the hostages out first, then we could start talking about that. Because, I don't like to see carnage and craziness. Don't we all want world peace? Don't we all want to get along with each other? Don't we all don't want to get angry at each other anymore? We don't have that. So, the only way you're going to get a, quote, ceasefire is, again, get those 100 plus people out of captivity. When these people don't understand Jewish history. They don't understand the Exodus. They don't understand how the Jewish people were slaved during the Egyptian times. Maybe they've never watched the Ten Commandments. Or maybe they don't remember the Holocaust. They don't remember when the Nazis kidnapped Jewish people. It wasn't just Germany. My grandfather had to escape Nazi Romania just to go to Jerusalem. So it's insult to injury right there. That these protesters are not really educated. It's awful. I understand their cause, and I get it. And I've understood it now for a year. I've understood it. I'm an open person. And, if I was certainly president, I would have gotten the hostages first. And I would have said, no ceasefire until you get the hostages out. Plain simple. Want a ceasefire? Get them out. Make sure they're safe. Make sure they're reunited with their friends and family. then you could talk about it then. And again, I have to talk about this today because, again, tomorrow is Rosh Hashanah. I can't do it tomorrow knowing that not that many people in the Jewish community are going to even see my video. So, there are some people who I'm going to call them Zionists who are going to be angry with me. But too bad. Yes, I don't like some things about Palestine, but, maybe they should have their own land. I mean, why not? But you're not going to get it until you get those hostages out. And what Hamas did was completely unacceptable on October 7th last year. So, that's where I'm going to end it. Let's see what occurs in a month from now, because I'm going to talk about it in a month from now. On my birthday, I'm going to have to talk about this. You don't think I'm going to talk about this on November 8th? I'm going to talk about it. So let's end the conversation on Israel. So, next up, we're going to talk about the dock worker strike. Now, any content creator that talks about shipping and docking, I'll leave a link to a channel here on YouTube that will be giving updates on the dock worker strike within the next couple of days. I'll just mention, if you are a YouTube Creator Guild member, you have my full support. You hopefully will have the other YouTubers' support. I hope Mr. Beast can chime in. Maybe other YouTubers will chime in. Maybe Logan Paul shouldn't be selfish. I know he's in the guild, but we have to come together and support our fellow content creators in their time of need, because they educate us on what it's like to be in a shipping yard and a dock yard. They help us supply our stores and help us buy stuff online, and we help them. So we all know why they're going on strike. They're upset with cost of living. They're upset with inflation like everybody else is. And let's call it for what it is.
Source for classical music broadcasting from Cape Cod, Massachusetts.
I am so sorry about that. That's a little bit of a blooper there. What was I going to say? Right. So AI is threatening the dockyards. AI is threatening it. And we all know that AI tried threatening the writers and the screen actors last year. And that's why you saw me on the picket line. Now, am I going to join the dock workers on the picket line myself? Since this is not really an entertainment issue, I am not going to get involved on the dockyards. Just because, it's not my place and not my thing to do here. But I will say that, again, I know there are YouTube channels that talk about shipping and dockyards. So they have my support, and again, I hope other YouTubers come forward. And the problem is that this goes on for weeks. You're going to notice it in the supermarkets. You're going to notice that your bananas aren't going to be ripe. If you're trying to get frozen shrimp, they come from boats. Yeah, they come from those docking yards. So by the end of this month, you might notice it if it goes on for longer than it has to. And I certainly think it could affect the outcome of the election. So there's that. There's definitely that. So yeah. Let's hope that the dock workers can get a contract where AI doesn't impact their jobs, and hopefully they'll get a salary that's competitive in the market that's dealing with inflation. One more thing before I talk about the election. So I do want to talk about it. I want to offer my thoughts, prayers, and condolences to those affected by Hurricane Helene. I just want to mention the good news I've heard from officials in Polk County, Florida, in the past couple of days. Polk County is doing fine. Everything is okay. There were not that many power outages, especially in Davenport, my home, my future home, the way things are going. And we'll touch up on that on my birthday. I'm not going to discuss that now because there's stuff that I can't say in the moment on that, but let's just send thoughts and prayers to those affected in Florida, Georgia, and the Carolinas because they're going to be rebuilding for a while. I know I can't at the moment, but if you could consider donating to the American Red Cross, that would be one thing you can do right now to help people in their time of need, which is very important to do. So that's where I'm going to end it. So just awful what I've seen. The flooding was horrific, and supposedly now there may be another storm next week coming. So next up, we're going to talk about the election. So I know I may lose people on my side, but you know, many of you know in 2016 I was fully behind Donald Trump right around my 21st birthday. And there were issues at the time that were different that I don't want to talk about now. The main reason why I voted for Joe Biden the last time around was, remember, I was still out of work. And I needed money. I was running low on money. I was going through my savings because I wasn't working because I got furloughed. And Joe Biden promised he would get another stimulus check. So thankfully I got that in April of 2021. But not just me, but my parents did too. But yeah, I was in a very different situation back then. It was a very hostile environment, and let's call it for what it is. 2020 was a very different situation. You know, I was upset with what happened with the pandemic. I mean, it wasn't Donald Trump's own to say. I mean, there were people on both sides of the political aisle that couldn't handle this pandemic properly. So there was that. But I was upset with the Trump administration that the pandemic wasn't being handled in the right way. And so that's why I voted for Joe Biden for that other reason because, you know, for that of the matter. I mean, if I were president and if I was told about this situation in December of 2019, you know, it was a true story that President Trump actually ignored his own national security advisors about this right before Christmas of 2019. So if I was the president, you know that I would have treated this the same way the Obama administration treated Ebola. I mean, there are only good things I will say about. I mean, there's things I say about each president and I think are good. I mean, I look at Obama. His accomplishments was he killed Osama bin Laden. He actually saved the automobile industry, believe it or not. I know I got upset that, we were spending money, but in capitalism, sometimes that's what happens. You spend money to maybe get somewhere, and surprisingly, the automobile industry got saved and it created other jobs in different states. But with Trump, unemployment was low for 3 years. You had actual stability with our foreign policy. There were no new foreign wars. He created Space Force. But at the end of his presidency, his legacy did get tarnished. And sometimes in politics, that's what will happen. You do good, but then right in the end, you don't do good. And so with the civil unrest with the George Floyd protest, that was unfortunate. But now, in the pandemic, and then, of course, we had to rebuild our infrastructure even before this pandemic. Trump was putting that off. So, with Biden, at least if you've been noticing it, the 7 train has been more frequent. And you all remembered in 2021 when me and Charlton D'Souza crashed the Riders Alliance event in Jackson Heights. You all remembered we spoke to journalists on scene and we were telling them, I was constantly on the phone with federal representatives urging to get money into the transit system. And so you've been noticing the 7 train in Queens has been running frequent. That was me. I had a role in that. So you can thank me for that. Some say that I may have influenced Governor Kathy Hochul to pause the congestion pricing. Maybe I did. I don't know. Maybe history will define my legacy on that. I don't know. Sorry about that. My parents yelling. But yeah. And yeah, the infrastructure bill, okay. Yeah. I mean, the Grand Central Parkway is a mess. Ugh, man, I had to sit on that today trying to get over to LIJ. But yeah. The infrastructure bill was like the only thing that maybe was a major accomplishment. Other than that, this is deja vu of Jimmy Carter. And yeah, Jimmy Carter turned 100 today, but it's deja vu because inflation is high. You have people in a foreign country being held captive. Ooh, where have we seen this before? Yeah, history is repeating itself, except this is 10 times worse than that because we're on the brink of World War III. So, things could change in a month. Could we be in World War III? I don't want to say that right now, but only time will tell. But I am very worried about Kamala. I am very worried about her. I don't want to necessarily panic if she wins because I'm more worried about the Republicans currently in Congress. I mean, yeah. Do I want to see Donald Trump reelected? This time, yes. And I'll get into that in a second, but I just feel that I am more worried about the Republicans in Long Island that helped get the majority in Congress. And no, it was a slim majority, but I'm very worried the Republicans are at risk of losing the House of Representatives. And yeah, the whole George Santos thing, okay. But, if you have Donald Trump in there, maybe some stuff can get done. I don't know, but I'm very worried for Anthony D'Esposito in Nassau County. The Democrats are going after him. Jay Jacobs and the big money machine, they are attacking him. And it's shameful what they're doing. The left always tries to do this. And it's disgusting what they're doing. And I wish that Laura Gillen could be sued for defamation of character to Anthony D'Esposito. It's awful. win or lose, I really hope Anthony takes her to court. Because this is not right what she's doing and what Jay Jacobs is doing. And all these super PACs that were allowed to spend willy-nilly because of the Citizens United versus FEC decision in the 2010s. So, it's just awful. And then I got to worry about Nick LaLota and Suffolk. Oh, boy, do I got to worry about him. I got to worry about him. It's going to be really, really interesting what's going to happen to Nick LaLota in that first district. Oh. I'm scared what's going to happen to him. You know, it's... I'm just looking up to confirm. I think it's the socialist. I think it's a socialist that's running against him. If it's who I think it is from 2020, then I am really worried. I am really, really worried what's going to happen. I just have to confirm it. Okay, good. So it's not Nancy Goroff. Oof. Nancy Goroff ponders to AOC and Bernie Sanders. Ugh. So it's actually a moderate candidate named John Avalon. So I kind of know who he is. But yeah. I don't know how I would feel about him. I don't know how I would feel about him being in that district. Now, in the second district, Andrew Gabbiano's going to win. I mean, that's a given. Andrew is just too popular. He's not going to lose. So, now it goes into that third congressional district. Do I have to talk about Tom Suozzi? Wow. Here we go again with Tom Suozzi. Now, you have former Assemblyman Mike LaPetrie running in that district. Could Mike win? It could be close. But the only disadvantage is that he doesn't really favor the North Shore and Mid-Island. So, the advantage could go to Tom Suozzi. So, necessarily, it could be Suozzi winning, Gabriano, D'Esposito, and then LaLota keeping their seats. So there's that. Now, keep this in mind. This time around for Congress, I'm not going to be voting for Thomas Smink. And here's the reason why. Because Joju, right. His name is Joju. Joju got screwed over by the Republicans. And I know I sound controversial for saying this, but Joju has actually spent a lot of money, believe it or not. He's out fundraised somewhat Grace Meng and Tom Smink. So I urge you, if you're in my congressional district in Queens, please consider voting for Joju, because to put Thomas Smink in is a disgrace. It really, really is. I don't know what the Queens GOP was thinking, but, you know, Joju was actually from Flushing. And he actually represents the values of this district. And I can relate to him because he used to be a limo driver just like my dad. So, trust me, I'm going to be supporting Joju for Congress this year. And then I'm just going to see what else is going on. Obviously, in the 11th, Maliatakis is going to win in Staten Island. And there goes my neighbors being loud. Ugh. See, it's been a lot more noisier around here. I'm going to get that to the end of this video. Now, in the 14th district, that's when I am more focused on. So Tina Forte is actually running again for Congress. And I hope Tina wins. Because Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez must be stopped, okay? She panders to the Riders Alliance, just like Grace Mink. So, you're going to vote for AOC and Grace Mink. You're supporting the Riders Alliance. So just keep that in mind when you're voting. They're not looking out for you. So if you're in College Point or parts of the Bronx, I think Tina may have a chance to win. Because a Republican, I think, flipped that seat, one of the seats in the council last year in the Bronx, which was unexpected. And then upstate, I am very worried what's going to happen upstate. That's a given. Obviously, I know that George Latimer is going to win Westchester. That's a given. He has that locked up. So now we're going to talk about District 17. Oh, goodness sake. If Mondaire Jones wins, basically that's another friend of AOC right there. So Mike Lawler has been doing a good job since he's gotten to Congress. He's been very vocal about congestion pricing. So if you're in Rockland County, I urge you to re-elect Mike Lawler. I know my cousin in Rockland's going to be watching this, but I doubt she will be voting for him. Because he's been very vocal, Mike Lawler, about congestion pricing. And it's very important that we keep him in Congress because somebody has to stop congestion pricing. I mean, it's going to price us all out of New York. And you know the old saying that Raul Rivera of Taxi Limousine Drivers, I forget what his YouTube channel is. He says it himself the best. Congestion pricing is a crime, and indeed it is, folks. Indeed it is. It starts with the federal government, and so that's why if you're in Rockland County, you got to vote for Mike Lawler. And if you're in, what parts of this, right? Orange, Dutchess, and Ulster, you got to vote for Allison Esposito. Because I was fully behind Allison when she was on the ticket with Lee Zeldin for governor 2 years ago. So she's actually running for Congress, which is a shock. But yeah. And I'll just mention, I assume Mark Molinaro is going to win in the 19th. I'm assuming Elise Stefaniak's going to win. So, yeah, I like Elise. She's very good. Elise she's very effective. In fact, I think she could become Speaker of the House one day. That's how good she is. So, I'm not going to talk about the Senate because I know Mike Ciccoponi is running, but you know Christian Gillibrand's going to win. But we do have a chance to make these congressional races very competitive. That's a given. And I'm not going to talk about Maryland because I know Andy Harris is going to win re-election. And I think Larry Hogan might actually become the next senator. So we will talk about that in November for my birthday. But I will mention that... let me talk about my literal wallet here, okay? I literally feel that Kamala Harris is not going to address inflation. All right? She's not. You think it's been bad with Biden? She's the vice president. And then Tim Walz, who basically enabled Black Lives Matter to destroy Minneapolis, you know, how could I support that? How? I mean, if it was, you know, somebody else, I'm just going to say it. The Democrat Party is so unrecognizable. They have pondered to the radical left. It's not your grandparents' Democrat Party. All right? It's not. It's not the JFK type Democrat Party that you remembered. That party is long time gone. It's finished. It's done. And Michael Savage said that in 2016, so I should have listened to him. So, And then, of course, there's media bias. And I certainly hope that Donald Trump, if he gets reelected, can do what he did the last time. Man, I'm telling you, imagine if Donald Trump gets reelected, I would love to see Peter Doocy or Monica Crowley become press secretary. Oh, that would be fun to watch. That would be fun to watch. That would be very interesting. But bottom line is, I'm looking to sell my house next year. And I'm very worried if Kamala gets reelected. There is a good chance that, by all means, we're going to see the interest rate get back up to 5%. And I'm very scared about that if I'm trying to sell and somebody tries to take out a loan to buy my house. So I am kind of worried about that. And then, who wants to see $5 a gallon gas again? I don't, because that's going to make food prices go up again. You know how food gets transported? Diesel trucks. They pay more. So I'm going to be saying it, but this time around I am going to be supporting Donald Trump. And remember, Donald Trump said win or lose, he's not running again. Because if he runs again, he'll be 82. You think he wants to go through it all over again? 82 years old? I mean, Joe Biden tried to. So, the point is, this Project 25 nonsense, it's called Agenda 47, first of all, so do your research. Whoever is spewing this. And again, I am close with the Republicans here in New York. So you know that if the National Weather Service is being threatened, you know I'm going to give them a phone call and let them know not to do it. I'm going to call their staffs and let them know that you can't be doing this. And if not, believe me, we will go to the Supreme Court. Because that's why we have the three branches of the government. People just assume that Donald Trump is going to be a tyrant. Like, no, that's not how the government works. You have an executive branch, a legislative branch, and a judicial branch of 9 Supreme Court justices in Washington, D.C., who can interject if they see something wrong. No, okay, I get it. Roe versus Wade got overturned, but there's not going to be a national abortion ban. Whoever is spewing that, shame on you. Donald Trump even said it himself. This is going to cost us elections if we go way extreme. And so that's why you let the states decide. Look at Florida. People are going to vote on November 5th to decide if the 6-week abortion ban is going to get repealed. And I will just mention, and I do agree with a lot of people, there are liberal people in Florida, I agree with them on, that this is what DeSantis is doing is just too far. 6 weeks is not enough time to find out if a woman is pregnant. So I hope that gets overturned. And as far as the marijuana situation is concerned, I support medical cannabis, but not recreational. No, because it causes car accidents, just like alcohol does. So obviously I would be voting to not legalize marijuana in Florida, but I would be voting to make sure that, the 6-week ban gets overturned. And I'm not in Florida right now, so I can't do anything about it, but I hope that that's the case. But I am worried with Kamala. She scares me. I think inflation's going to get worse. I think, you know, it's going to be the same repeated Joe Biden policies. And bottom line is, a radical extremist like Tim Walz being in the White House close to the presidency scares me right now. And Senator Vance has really impressed me. The way he speaks, the way that he says it like it is. And I'm seeing a Kamala ad right now. I mean, the Democrats are so desperate. They're panicking that they're going to lose their 13-point lead in New York. Just, ugh. So, yeah, I'm just going to leave it at that. I'm behind Donald Trump. And if you don't respect my opinion, then too bad. But um, honestly, if Donald Trump was not running, I would have been behind Vivek Ramaswamy. Because I like his passion and his enthusiasm. So, I don't know. Ron DeSantis just doesn't seem charismatic. You cannot have that in politics because then people aren't going to respect you for that. And I certainly hope that Vivek will have a job in the Trump administration. Maybe he'll be an advisor. Maybe he'll do something. I don't know what Vivek's going to do. But I do hope that we see Vivek Ramaswamy at some point. I do hope so. But I am going to digress on that. So, yep. I'm MAGA. Criticize me all you want, but I see it the way it is. And I do hope that I'm not going to have a negative reaction on my birthday. But I will say this, just, and I said this in 2020, just be patient. Don't just assume that somebody's going to win on November 5th. Assume that you may be up all night and you may be wondering what's going on here. Who's going to win? So, stand down and just be calm and wait for the process to play out. And I certainly hope nothing fishy is going to happen with the election. Alright, so one more thing before I wrap up this video, because I've been going on now for 45 minutes. The airplane noise is really getting to me. I think it's because we're going to talk about me for a bit. The airplane noise has just been really bothering me. I'm hearing it's from adjusted flight patterns. I don't know, but whatever. Probably because of all the bad weather that's been going on from Halloween and maybe the Midwest, but yeah, it's not looking good right now. With flight patterns and all that stuff going on, I'm like, it's so much going on near LaGuardia. And honestly, I don't want to call Grace Ming or Joe Brand, because what are they going to do about it? It's all talk. They're not going to do anything about it. So, or Schumer, but it's disgusting that I have to hear it, not just me, but my other neighbors, and they're getting upset with it too. So, as far as how I'm doing, if you've even made it to this part of the video, I'm doing okay, somewhat. I'm hanging in there here in New York. I'm making the best out of my situation, but I just gotta say, and if I'm misogynistic, I need to talk about the dating scene in New York City very quickly before I wrap this up. I don't know what it is with these women, but they go on these dating apps. They are looking for someone. They, hello, I'm right in front of you. But it's just too obvious that they're getting desperate. And one of the girls that I've supposedly had a crush on uh, went on TikTok and she's like, I'm never gonna get married. I'm trying to text her and like again, you want companionship. Hello, I'm right here. I don't know. Like I read somewhere online that New York is just not a good place to date people. It's like one of the worst places to find a relationship, and I'm starting to realize that. I mean, maybe because I've had so many romantic encounters, mm, it's awful, man. It's just really awful that I'm encountering this online. It's disgusting. It really, really is. So, I don't know. I mean, recently I went on a date with someone, and, there's one thing that you gotta let a man do. That is just give us our space. Stop being so obsessive about us. Ah! I've been noticing that to the woman that I've been talking to lately. But then yet, again, one girl who I said on TikTok, she's putting herself out there, and yet, I, I don't know, guys. There's another girl I was talking to in Massachusetts. She claimed that she liked me, and then she talked to this Israeli guy recently, and then the Israeli guy tried scamming her, which I'm not going to get into, because we respect people's privacy here. We try to, even though there's people who have come after me before. But yeah, that's the story of my life right now. Work is hectic. Mom and Dad are up my case as usual about doing this and that before we go to Florida. If I'm even am. And I told y'all the only reason why I would stay here is if I find a romantic partner, which, um, the win probability in sports, right? Yeah, I think the probability is starting to go down, and I think I'm likely going to end up in Florida the way things are going. And yeah, the snobs are winning. They're telling me to go shut up and live in Florida because, oh, we don't like you anymore. You don't fit in with us. You don't fit the narrative of how we feel. You're too conservative for us. You are too MAGA. You don't represent our values, is what Kathy Hochul always says. So yeah, I'm just gonna wrap it up with this. To all the people that have gone against me, I'm not going down without a fight. Alright? I'm gonna speak my mind. And I just did. So the airplane noise is going around. I'm going on now for almost an hour. I have a nursing home job to go to tomorrow. So I've said too much already. I'm done here. I'm just beyond disgusted with the world the way it is right now. And I'm praying that Donald Trump comes back. But if he doesn't, then I don't know. I don't know how I'm going to feel. I don't want to feel anger because then if I sound like a bitter, angry person, and this is what Mike Gallagher talks about on Salem News Channel. You come off too angry to people for no good reason. You're just going to turn people off. he does a good job with his show. Go on Pluto TV every day at 9 o'clock if you can, and just watch him because he tells it the way it is. When he's not talking about politics, I mean, he actually does talk about human emotions, even when it's about current events going on. So yeah, again, I've gone on for too much. I'm done here. It's almost up. Oh, it's after 7 o'clock. So again, you can unsubscribe, you can dislike. I don't care. It doesn't matter. I care about our country. I care about our world right now. We need to make sure Kamala Harris is not going to be the president. And I got to focus on that the next couple of weeks. So. All right, y'all. I'm done. Oh, and by the way, New York Assembly, before I wrap this up, please vote for John Rinaldi if you're in Kew Gardens and Forest Hills because Alan Hevesey's got to go. And in my district, District 25, support Kenneth Chu. Nili Rosick's got to go. I'm telling you, I'm actually excited about these assembly races this year. They're actually becoming a lot more exciting here in New York. Oh, and by the way, there is a Republican running against Toby Stravinsky. I forget her name at the moment, but Toby Ann Stravinsky's got to go too. We got to get rid of all these old dinosaurs that are in the Senate. But unfortunately, I think we're still stuck with John Liu. But I will say this about John Liu, though. At least he's getting the squatters out of the houses in New York. So I'm going to give him credit on that. But I'm probably not going to be voting for him because he supports bail reform. He supports congestion pricing. So with that, no, I'm not going to be voting for him. So that's it. I forgot to mention that. So I'm done talking. I've had enough to say, and we'll do this again on November 8th. I promise. Friday, November 8th, I will be back in front of this camera on my birthday, and we're going to talk about what the world is like. What I'm seeing on dating profiles, and yeah, we're going to further allude into that on my birthday. So that's it. Take care, and please just try to be civil with each other and be nice to each other because we just do not have that anymore. Bye.